Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a little bit of a step back in time and looking at an older release. This particular figure actually released way back in 2012 before I even had started my collecting journey, so I missed out. I've been looking for him throughout the years and the price has been steadily rising until finally my buddy Daniel stumbled across one in a trade, and therefore I was able to pick it up off him. So a huge thank you to Daniel for sorting me out with the DX11. As I said, it is an older release. If you are looking to pick up any of the older Nolanverse figures, I do believe they are in stock with toyswonderland.com. Link will be in the description below. However, there is a bit of a warning. They will be pricey because they are a little bit older, a little bit more rare. The price in Hong Kong in the aftermarket does go up. So you should expect to pay a little bit of a premium to get some of these older Nolanverse figures. Now this review right here will be kicking off the retro reviews for the Nolanverse line. I've picked up quite a few. If you want to head over to the community tab to see what's coming up next, go ahead and do that because I just posted a picture of the haul of Nolanverse figures. There are a couple of key subscribers, or one specifically I should say, that I do want to say a huge thank you to, but we'll get to that in the next review, being of course the DX12. Now what we are going to do next is get the box for the DX11 laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here of course we have the box art for the DX11 himself. Now mine being a used release, and these DX boxes known to be quite fragile, you can see around the edges there is a little bit of damage, but that's sort of par for the course with these older figures. I've been assured the figure himself inside is pretty much flawless. Now one issue with mine is we're actually missing the cover flap that goes over the top here. The seller, who my buddy Daniel got it off, does actually have it and will be sending it along. It's the one with the Joker playing card that goes in the center. It's missing, but it is coming, so I will have a fully complete box sometime down the line. Now this being the special edition, you can see he does come with some added accessories. We'll be exploring that in the very next clip. Now here we have the DX11 himself, and I have to say it's been a long time coming. I've always sort of admired the DX11 from afar. It's an absolutely fantastic release, but one that was a little bit out of my price range until finally I've now been able to pick him up. Now we'll take a look at him in just a second. You can see this being a DX release, he comes with a ton of stuff. So what we are going to do now is get all of this stuff laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have almost all of the accessories that come with the Joker. And yes, I did just say almost. There are a couple more key diorama style pieces which you'll see in the very next clip. Let's start off by taking a look at the actual accessories themselves first, starting off with the display base. This thing is beautiful. It's the classic DX style display base shape, but it does have this metal grate over the top that is all sorts of rusty and nasty. It's something that if you saw this in real life you'd avoid for the fear of getting tetanus, but not to worry, it's not actually metal. It's a nice plastic, well weathered and well painted piece. And yes, being an older style DX piece, it actually does still light up. Now let's take a look at the head sculpts because these things are absolutely insane. This, the DX11, is, as far as I'm personally aware, the undisputed king of Heath Ledger Joker head sculpts. This is just stunning. For a figure of its vintage, it does capture the likeness and the paint applications pretty darn near perfectly. This one, obviously, the maniacal laughter head sculpt, I love. I personally may be using this on my particular figure in the display. That's how much I really do like it. You also do get a regular Joker head sculpt, and the benefit about this one, as you can see I have the eyes tilted slightly up, is the fact that you can remove the hairpiece on the back, and you can move the eyes in tandem. This is PERS. Nowadays you do move the eyes individually, but it wasn't the case back when the DX11 came out. They they move as a whole unit, and it works quite nicely. I really like the way they work. You can also see a little bit of a glossy finish over the top to give that appearance of sweat on the makeup. Honestly, might be one of my personal favorite head sculpts of all time. I now understand the hype. I didn't at first. People were saying, Justin, pick up the DX11, and I was kind of hesitant. I don't know why. This is just beautiful. Now, he does come with a tray of extra accessories, as you can see right here. A bunch of knives, including a potato peeler and also a pencil. But the benefit here is they're not just for show. They actually do work. This one can collapse in on itself, and the butterfly knife can actually be unlocked and used as a 1/6 scale butterfly knife. That's something that, honestly, they really didn't need to do. You also get a stack of Joker cards, some money with Joker's face painted on the front there, and also some handcuffs. Now, the cool thing about the DX11 is that it includes, pretty much as far as I'm aware, the most well-painted hands that I have ever seen. The sculpts are also fantastic, but you can see how dirty and grimy and nasty, including dirt actually underneath the fingernails on the hands. I've never seen that before. Throughout all of the various figures I've picked up, I've never seen actual bruised and dirty hands like we're seeing right here. That is absolutely stunning. Now, you do get these special edition accessories if you do get the Hot Toys or Sideshow exclusive versions. You do get the mask from one of the other robbers that were included in the heist at the start of the movie. It's a fairly basic piece. It's a rubbery style plastic. You do have the hair up the top there that is real and rooted, and it's painted and sculpted really nicely. One of the coolest pieces is, of course, this little bomb mechanism for the ferry scene. You don't have any actual rotation on the key there, but you do have a real metal hook on the bottom there, and a nice little CPU motherboard style chip, plus a brown cardboard style box. It does the job. It looked pretty much exactly like this in the movie. Now, the final pieces he does come with are, of course, some weapons. You do have a spring-loaded piece up the top here, and a stock that can flip out. This is pretty much perfection. I love all of the weathering and chips around the edges. It really does make it look metallic and realistic. You do also have a Glock-style pistol. This is something that he used, I'm pretty sure, predominantly at the start of the movie in the bank heist. This is the pistol he was using. You can remove the magazine and a spring-loaded top section as well. And the final weapon you do get is a shotgun with a real working mechanism. This thing is also painted marvelously with some slight weathering around the edges. What we are going to do now, though, is get the remaining accessories because, yes, there are more out here, and take a closer look at the rest of the stuff Joker comes with. And here we have the final two pieces aside from the cardboard backdrop that Joker does come with. Starting off with the chair first, it's fairly basic. It's a 1/6 scale metal style chair. It's all made of plastic. First of all, there's no rubbery style stuff here. It's not made of metal. It's basic. It's meant to represent the interrogation scene, and it does that pretty much perfectly. I do love the weathering and the rust effects throughout the legs and throughout the top. It really does make this thing look a little bit more realistic. The final piece he does come with is, of course, his table. The cool thing is there's a lamp, and on the underside, there's a connection point to plug it in. Plus, it's magnetic, so that means you can actually tip the table upside down and the lamp won't go flying off. No, the lamp doesn't actually work, unfortunately, but it does have a light bulb sculpted in underneath there. You can also see a hole. That hole is meant for the pencil, so you can kind of recreate the pencil trick with this Joker. I don't know why they included that hole there. It's kind of unnecessary because he doesn't, of course, have the bombs, or the grenades, I should say, in his jacket lining. They were saving that because the original DX Joker did come with that. They didn't want to include it on both versions and devalue that original one, although, let's be honest, they kind of did anyway. You can also see the surface of the table is all kinds of scratched up. There have been quite a few interrogations, I would assume, and that's exactly what you can see here with the finish. It looks really good, and you can also see some scuffing down the edges on the legs of the table there. Now, you will see the interrogation scene backdrop a little bit later in the video. I want to save it so I can kind of give you the look of how it's supposed to be set up with Batman in the background and Joker there as well. We'll have to see how that looks a little bit later in the video. And here we have him, standing straight up and down the lightbox, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, I love this piece. Straight up, I'm going to be honest with you, it looks pretty much flawless. There are a couple of things that I do have to talk about in just a second, but overall, just standing there, it does what it says on the tin. It's Joker through and through. It even has that sort of stumpy posture that Joker had throughout the course of the movie. It's pretty much, as I said, almost perfect. If there is a DX20 version of Joker 3.0 rattling around at Hot Toys somewhere, I honestly don't know what they would change aside from making the body slightly bigger and some new and improved paint applications, but overall, this piece for me is now quintessential Heath Ledger Joker. And you're right, all of you who've been telling me it's a crime I don't have this in the collection, you're 100% right. I'm so glad I picked this guy up. What we are going to do now, though, is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have the Joker up close and personal, and I have to say, this guy looks absolutely incredible. Now, if you've been following along with the channel for a while, you'll know that I've looked at a couple of third-party versions of Joker, including a copy of the DX11 outfit set. But I have to say, having this in person, in hand, nothing compares to it. It's absolutely exceptional, all the way down to the paint and the likeness on this head sculpt. I know you've already seen it, but it looks that darn good. It's incredibly lifelike, and the paint applications are super impressive. Now let's talk about the outfit. The biggest complaint that a lot of people do have is the material choice for the coat. If there is to be a 3.0 Joker, a lot of people are saying, well, we need a new coat. Honestly, I agree. It's a little bit thick and it's a little bit bathrobe-y, but it does work. It kind of does look like the coat in the film. Would I have liked a little bit more weathering? Absolutely. That wouldn't have gone astray, but still, it does the job. I personally am leaning towards displaying him without it though, just because it kind of does give the illusion of this being a figure rather than an actual person, especially in 1/6 scale photography, or I should say, it ruins the illusion of this being a real-life person. Now you can see he does come with a grey jacket underneath, and the green vest, plus the shirt and tie as well. I will be rocking, I think, the interrogation room scene look for my personal display. Now moving down to the pants, you can see a real metal chain. That's a nice touch. I love that they've done that, and the nice pinstripe for the pants themselves, leading us all the way down to the absolutely exquisite, real velvety felt feeling shoes with real laces. That's a really nice touch, and of course some actual socks that are accurate to the movie as well. You can see there is a little slot on the front of the shoes there, so you can insert that little blade which you saw in the accessory segment, but the detail on these shoes is absolutely insane. They look so incredibly lifelike, so much so that the tongue of the shoe is actually folded in to the joint itself. These are works of art. In fact, this entire figure is a work of art. I'm so glad I picked this up. I know a lot of people were telling me for a long time and I was adamant I wasn't going to, but now I have it in hand, I'm super impressed, and I 110% understand all the hype behind the DX11. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the DX11 standing next to the DX12, who by the way will be the very next Dark Knight Rises retro review going live on the channel, so stay tuned for that. But as you can see, Batman is taller than the Joker, and I think that really works. It makes sense. I am curious to see now, though, with the DX19 being on a larger body, what that's going to look like standing next to the DX11. I do believe there will have to be a DX20 reissue of the Joker coming in the near future, because otherwise it's going to be completely out of scale. And for those of you who don't know, Hot Toys are no stranger to making Heath Ledger Joker figures. We've gotten a bunch in 1/6 scale, we've gotten a 1/4 scale one, so it would make sense for them to do one last hurrah and give us the ultimate 1/6 scale Heath Ledger Joker. But for me personally, this, for now at least, is it. It's the ultimate one, it's my personal favourite, and I cannot wait to put it on the shelf. Next up, here we have Two-Face. This figure has been in my collection since, of course, I reviewed him. He's the most recent release in the Dark Knight line. He was, of course, an exclusive reissue that no one really saw coming, but we have him and he's pretty darn good. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out the review on Two-Face. He, along with Bob Dylan gifting me a few figures for the channel, was the main reason why I decided to go back and start recollecting the Dark Knight figures, because of course I didn't actually have any of them. I'm so very glad now that I went ahead and did go and collect those figures, because some of them are truly fantastic. Now, as you can see, there is a bit of a height difference between the two, and I think that's the Joker showing some signs of age. Like I was just talking about, when Batman comes out, he's going to be slightly taller, more in scale with Two-Face. You could just have a shorter Joker, that's perfectly fine. It does make sense, but for me personally, I think that he's slightly too short. Now, how this is going to work is, as we slowly start working our way through the retro reviews on the channel, I'll be adding more and more into the comparison segment of each video, so definitely stay tuned. Towards the end, we should be comparing pretty much the entire line that I personally have picked up, and then we'll have to wait and see what else is coming next. Just going over articulation on Joker. Now, bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be slightly more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints a little bit further than I'm willing to go. Now, starting off with the head sculpt itself, it is on an incorporated neck that's built in to the face sculpt itself. That means you are going to get a slightly hindered range of motion, but it does pretty much everything you'd expect it to do. The arms themselves go out pretty much the full way. It's all soft goods, so you don't have to worry about damaging pretty much anything on the outfit itself. Going forward the full way, butterfly joint up there at the shoulder, a double bend, of course, at the elbow, and a swivel down there as well, plus a regular 1/6 scale joint for the wrist itself. Now, for the torso, same thing, fairly unhindered going forward, back, swivel, and pivot side to side. The legs go forward to about there, going out about there as well, and a swivel at the upper thigh, plus a double bend at the knee, and a regular 1/6 scale joint for the foot itself. And here we have the diorama display piece that comes with the Joker fully assembled. The table and the chair are all in shot. I've also popped the DX12 in the background, and I have to say, this is just glorious. It looks truly that darn good. I'm so very glad Hot Toys decided to pop in these cardboard pieces, but they're not just cardboard. There's also this glossy section that's meant to replicate the two-way mirrors, and it also does wrap around quite nicely. If you did have this in a Detolf, it may not fit because it is quite large, but if you did have the space to display it, as you can see right here, you can create a very convincing shot of the Batman lurking in the background. You can do a hell of a lot more with it. You can have him pulling Joker over the table, do a proper action scene in this backdrop. That's how universal and versatile it is. You can also use it as just a generic interrogation room for any sorts of other characters. Say you want to do some sort of 80s movie throwback, cop movie, something like that, you can definitely make it work. It's a really nice, versatile piece, and honestly, I'm super glad Hot Toys decided to include it with the DX11. Just wrapping up on the Hot Toys DX11, the grail of all grails for a lot of people, and I know people just sort of swing that term around willy-nilly, but no, truly, this figure does earn its keep, in my personal opinion. He is incredibly pricey if you are looking to pick him up nowadays, and honestly, I can see why. He is that darn good. The optional head sculpts, the diorama style pieces, you get the table, you get the chair, you get a bunch of accessories, and you get an amazing looking figure. The head sculpts are, in my opinion, the pièce de résistance for this entire set. I love the fact that you can move the eyes, you get the crazy maniacal laughing head sculpt, and if you did pick up other Joker figures, or if you did even get the third-party sets, you can now use the alternate head sculpts that come with this set to upgrade them, because as we all know, Hot Toys pretty much are the king of 1/6 scale releases, and they are definitely flexing their muscles with this piece right here. I truly love it. There are a couple of complaints, but honestly, at the end of the day, he is that good. I've said it. Pick him up. If you are looking for him, you can find him for a decent price. Do yourself the favor, pick this figure up. If you have Batman, even better, you can create some really awesome diorama style scenes from the interrogation room, or even if you want to get some custom stuff going, you want to get a custom diorama made of the street scene with the Batpod and Batman, that'd be even cooler. There are so many possibilities, and that's the huge plus with the DX11. It just opens up an entire world of Nolanverse Batman goodness, and that's why I love this release. Now, as I said at the intro of the video, I picked up mine from my good buddy Daniel, but I do believe Toys Wonderland has this guy. He will be pricey though, so before anyone heads down to the comments telling me how expensive he is from Hong Kong, yeah, he definitely will be. He's an older release. He's incredibly rare. Try your local Facebook groups. Try eBay. And at the end of the day, if you just want to have him delivered to your door with no hassle, Toys Wonderland should have this guy available. But as I said, mind the price. He will be expensive. Link for that will be in the description below. Also, while you are down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.